Thank you, Chair. Thank you, honourable members, and thank you, DG. I would like to point out that when I started my presentation, I introduced specifically the MAT team, and I cannot speak for anybody else that was still part of the meeting after we started, but I did point out the exact members who are part of the MAT team. That's number one. Number two is we are by no means or in any form part of SIFSA or is SIFSA part of us. This MAT team was put together at the discretion of the minister via a selected names that are put forward by the creative sector, who are members of various associations, with the understanding that when we got together, we are there representing the sector and not representing any association or federation in any form whatsoever. Purely because we understand our industry and purely because, unfortunately, for the past 15 months or 14 months leading up to the creation of MAT, there was no recognition or understanding by government, by Parliament of our creative sector, and we started feeling it especially mentally and financially, and this is why we reached out to our nearest port of call, which is our creative department, sports and arts and culture. And the minister heard our plea and recognized the challenges that we face as a creative sector, because for the past year, we have been slowly dying of various of the pandemic and of starvation because of there being no input by government to our sector. Thus, the creation of the MAT. The DG succinctly put it correct that we are guided from a payment perspective on that first question by National Treasury. And when we first got together as the selected team, we immediately pointed out that it should only be for official meetings and not for every single meeting. And this is why you will see by the portfolio of evidence, should you wish it, which DDG can share, out of every 10 meetings, we are paid for one. Because we are more interested in looking after our sector and trying to put them back into life rather than looking at trying to make money. The next question was, is MAT working? Absolutely. If we, and I do apologize, we are creatives, we are not administrators or politicians. How is MAT working? By virtue of engagement with the Department of Labour and requesting them, and they adjusting the variance percentage from 29% to 50% for our creative companies. If you are to equate that into money, it's millions. If you are to equate the school fees that we've managed to save and get exempt from, again, it goes into the hundreds of thousands because of the success of it. If you look at the lives physically we have saved by interventions of wellness, one life is priceless. I can't even put a price to it. So is MAT working under the leadership of the minister and the curation of the terms of reference? From a MAT perspective, absolutely it is working. It has got nothing to do with any other association, but by virtue of us being members of our association, the communication then follows down to our creative sector and to our associations. Question on MAT relief funding, has it worked? Obviously, these are initiatives by the Department of Sports and Arts and Culture. This is an initiative by government, and when we are requested to assist our creative sector and our department to try and assist our people to earn a little bit of relief, we welcomed the opportunity to roll up our sleeves and help our government to make sure our creatives got help. Unfortunately, and it has been depicted, there isn't a well that's full of money and deep pockets, and we wish we could help every single creative out there, but easier said than done. And to date, I think there are well over the creative assistance has been, by virtue of the ministerial report from Minister Nathi Mthethwa, is close to 650 million rand over the last 16 months invested in the creatives in some form of relief. It is now time for us to look at interventions for economic recovery, and this is the communication that's slowly going out from the department, including the MAT. I will ask Gabby to come in shortly with regards to the honourable member's request to ask if SIFSA has worked. I do think as chairperson and convener of the MAT, one has got nothing to do with the other. And if with the chairperson's permission, I would like to avoid that question in its entirety. Item number 5, how did we advise on the third phase relief? So what had happened, we understood the process and the procedures as per the Department of Sports and Arts and Culture in how third phase was issued based on the experience of first and second. And we realized there was a big gap, Chair, with regards to our sector maybe not understanding the documentation, whether it be via language or whether it be administratively, of what they needed to supply. And when the internal structures did not know how to communicate with the creative sector, we that come from the industry put a team together that knows and understands the production of a creative person and the thinking thereof, and made phone calls even at 11 o'clock at night to ask, can we help you? This is what you need to put together, and this is how we do it. On the plea of the MAT and the creative sector, we even got the deadlines extended so we could assist the third phase individuals in this type of relief. So this is how we advised the minister, and he heeded our advice. Again, because we are advisors from the industry. And this segues into the last question from Mr. Mashwango. There's a political advisor. Why do you need the MAT? Well, quite honestly, a political advisor does not come from the industry, does not understand the operations of the creative industry. Thus, he needs the advice that we offer and the assistance that we offer speaks specifically for the creative industry, because I'd revert back to my opening statement on answering these questions. There's been no help from government, there's been no assistance or even acknowledgement from Parliament and or government with regards to the creative sector. And this is why we rolled up our sleeves, begged to the minister to hear our plea and plight, and thus the creation of bridging the gap so that there can be that communication. With regards to the Honourable Van Dijk's question on payments, I think that got answered both by myself and the DGs. The honourable member wanted to know school fees. How was this communicated? So all our communications went through the communications department of the Department of Sports and Arts and Culture, as well as through our various associations that we are all members of, because we are not all members of SIFSA. For example, as highlighted earlier on, Gabby LaRue is a member of TUMSA, Tobela is a member of SAMIC, China is a member of SAMPRA, I am a member of Sakia, and Nozi is a member of Sisterhood. And via that, we managed to communicate. Unfortunately, we've still got a long journey to go, Chair, in trying to communicate to all corners of our country, especially the rural areas, and this is still ongoing, Chair. And I apologize that we haven't done sufficiently to date, bearing in mind, though, that we have only been in existence for the past 6 months only, and it's taking its time, and 6 months is too short a time to accomplish our goals in that regard. The next contact from the sector, Honourable Van Dijk, yes. So via our constituents, via our associations, we've got people have got direct contact to us. Likewise, via the Department of Sports and Arts and Culture and the communication that has gone out. And I will be honest, it has not gone out the way we have wanted, or as continuously, or as in your face as we would like it to be, and we are engagement with the Commons Department of the Department of Sports and Arts and Culture to rectify this, so there's a lot more engagement. Currently the communications is via social media, via our associations currently, and I agree, it is not enough. Number 5, fast tracking of engagements like with SARS. And like the Honourable Chair said earlier on, maybe we need to come back in a month's time or 2 months' time. These engagements are long ongoing. And like I said, a lot of the changes that we're trying to make are policy changes. And as you know, for example, National Treasury sits within the Constitution, and it's very difficult to try and adjust policy changes even under the Disaster Act. And it's a matter of learning via legal parameters and structures and understanding what we can and cannot cannot do, but we are strong in our resolve because it is going to benefit us both short-term, medium-term, and long-term. And again, when I say us, I'm talking about the creative sector. Honorable Dennis Joseph asked, thank you very much, sir, for your acknowledgement of the MAT. There are many out there that do understand and acknowledge the work that the MAT is doing as being completely different to what our associations are doing. So much so the MAT, in conjunction with SACIA and various other associations, TUMSA and what have you, and holding hands with SASCOC, because of the MAT, we have now had engagements with NEDLAC where we have presented the reopening guideline protocols based on the SASRIA Act, which the Department of Sports and Arts and Culture are the custodians of. And as of that, the MAT, as well as the team, have now got representation and a discussion with NatJoints to see how we can move forward with event safety, with our Event Safety Council, based on the international trends under the Event Safety Alliance, so that we can see how we can safely reopen our sector. And again, this is an initiative via the MAT, via the minister. The Honorable Dennis spoke about the unhappiness and resubmissions, and I think I explained that earlier on, how we got involved with our creative sector. The one thing that is sorely lacking for our sector, and is pointless mincing the words, is unity in our creative sector, and we are hopeful that holding hands with the department, MAT, our various associations, and eventually with SIFSA, that we can all be one federation, as it is with various other federations where we speak with one voice. I regret to inform you, Honorable Dennis, and members, that when we speak on how many associations and how many people specifically, I cannot give you those exact figures, and we are guilty thereof. And hopefully, if given the opportunity at the next committee meeting, we will be able to share exact numbers of the amount of people that we've assisted as far as MAT is concerned. And then finally, Honorable Chair, you spoke about achievements, and there are achievements, as we said, with the schools, our engagements that have taken place with various ministries and corporates is an achievement because the door was opened by our minister, compared to me as a leader of an association trying to get that meeting. But like I said, we've been engaged for 6 months. We have still got a journey to go. And with the Parliament's portfolios and the department's permission, we would like to continue engaging so that we can accomplish the achievements that we have set out to do under the specific work streams, over and above assisting our department with any other form of intervention for economic recovery and reconstruction of our country and our creative sector. Thank you, Honorable Chair. I think I've answered all questions. If I've missed any, I do apologize.